There's a lot of nuances and complexities when it comes to setting up an asset protection trust. So today I want to talk about the top 2 mistakes that people make in 2025 related to setting up an asset protection trust. So let's get into it. All right, so the top 2 mistakes that people make in 2025 related to asset protection trust planning. The first one is they choose the wrong jurisdiction. So a minority of states offer self-settled asset protection trust. So that means you yourself can set up an irrevocable trust for your own benefit and move your own assets into that trust. Not all states allow you to do that. So I think there's around 20 states that have these types of laws, but all of these states don't have similar laws around this. And there's only really a handful of states that have really flexible, strong asset protection trust laws that are worth even using. So just because a state has it doesn't mean it's any good. You may still want to look at another state. So it's widely recognized that Nevada and South Dakota are the best 2 asset protection trust jurisdictions. Their laws are almost identical, and I won't go into a lot of detail about that in this video, and I have other videos about that, but they're almost identical. After that, you start hearing about Tennessee, Ohio. After that, maybe Delaware, and then also maybe Alaska and maybe Wyoming. Wyoming is kind of a distant one. Wyoming is widely, I think, I should say, marketed as a good trust jurisdiction. And it's not a bad one, but it's certainly not better than those other ones that I mentioned. Big thing that stands out is the statute of limitations related to fraudulent conveyances or fraudulent transfers. So a personal creditor could have up to 4 years to challenge any transfer that you made to your asset protection trust in Wyoming, whereas in Nevada and South Dakota, it's only 2 years. Ohio is actually only 1.5 years, which is the shortest, but Nevada and South Dakota have other laws, flexibility, privacy, etc., that make it much, much better than, say, Ohio, even though there is that advantage, that one advantage in Ohio, but overall it doesn't really get you where you want to be. So you need to do a side-by-side analysis about which jurisdiction makes the most sense for you. So if you just go to an attorney in, say, Nevada, they're probably just going to tell you Nevada is the best. Or maybe even if you go to, I love South Dakota, that's where I like to do asset protection trust planning. But the thing is, I have done the side-by-side analysis, and I do it in South Dakota because I think South Dakota is the best. If you go to Wyoming, a Wyoming attorney is probably going to tell you it's the best. Point is, make sure you do this side-by-side comparison to ensure that you know what you're getting into and that you have all your bases covered. Asset protection trust planning is better than no asset protection trust planning. So if you do it in a state that maybe isn't recognized as number 1, that isn't the end of the world. But you may be putting yourself at a disadvantage. That is the thing to consider, and that is the number 1 mistake. Make sure you're using the top jurisdiction available to you. Okay, number 2, and I think this is a much, much bigger issue. Number 2 is that people will use these promoters of asset protection trust that are not attorneys. So when I say promoters, I mean people that you find on the internet that are pushing or selling asset protection trust planning. They have pretty slick marketing. They have, what appear to be really, really good YouTube videos, other social media content. But when I watch it, I realize they're not attorneys and they've never drafted an asset protection trust. They've not done a side-by-side comparison. They'll maybe grab on to 1 or 2 things and then run with it as maybe a disadvantage of using this jurisdiction or that jurisdiction, or why you don't want to use that attorney or this attorney or whatever it may be. They're very salesy. And I've had people come to me and say that they've worked with these outfits or that they've had conversations with them. And then and something about it made them want to seek a second opinion. And so they'll come to me, they'll explain to me the nature of the relationship. And I asked this one question: who is your attorney? Do you know who your attorney is? And they will tell me, well, I haven't spoken to an attorney, or I spoke to an attorney and they told me that I needed to talk to another attorney. Recently, I spoke to someone and they told me that they had contracted one of these YouTube personalities to engage them for asset protection trust planning, for an asset protection trust planning. And I asked, who is the attorney? And the person didn't know. And so they went back to the promoter, this company, and said, who is the attorney? And they gave them the name of who their attorney was, the company's attorney that was helping them draft the documents, but told them that they are not the client's attorney. So that's an issue. And I personally think that's the unauthorized practice of law, which you can, be thrown in jail for that, and face heavy civil and criminal fines for that. So I don't know who these people are. I don't know what their qualifications are. I would say do not use them. Anyone who's trying to sell you something, don't use it. I always tell people, I'd love to work with you, but sometimes it doesn't make sense. And I'll tell someone they don't need an asset protection trust. Maybe they don't need any more than an LLC in the state where they reside. So those are the two things. Those are two number one, number two mistakes in 2025 related to asset protection trust planning. Using the wrong jurisdiction and then using someone who's not an attorney, someone who's not qualified, someone who's just a salesperson at best.